Hi, everyone. Welcome to your monthly business challenge. I'm here with Heather
Hey.
again. Hey, how are you?
I'm great.
We're not going anywhere.
No.
So we're here to give you your challenge for this month. Are you ready for it? Heather,
Yes.
do you know what it's based around? Yes, you do. So tell everyone.
It's based around fear.
Ooh.
Fear drives a lot of our decisions, but let me back up. It doesn't drive your decisions directly, it drives your emotions, which ultimately lead to your decisions. And guess what? Decisions based on fear typically are not good ones.
Ooh, so powerful.
Yeah.
Look at you. Preach, sister.
So the challenge is to stare fear in the face. But how do you do that? You have to name it.
Punch it. You have to be aware of what
It is.
fearful. I learned this a lot in like my self-love coaching program is like you have to be aware. Like the first step is always awareness. And then you can start taking action. And you know what cures fear? Action. Action cures fear. I actually had that, like I read that in a book and I printed it out because fear used to hold me back from a lot of stuff. I mean, when I first started my business, I didn't want to market. I didn't want to shoot. People were willing to pay me in the early days of my business. And I was like, no, go find someone else.
Okay, what was the fear behind that, do you think?
A fear that I wasn't good enough. I think we all have this I'm not enough kind of fear. But it's, there's a deeper root to, what you're feeling as fear. But so I read in a book, Action Cures Fear, and I printed it up and put it on my computer. And it's actually still in my office.
You see it every day.
I see it every day. So whenever I'm like afraid of something, usually it's an indicator to me that it's something I should be doing. But I'm just afraid of taking a step and failing, which we've already talked about failure a little bit. But I know that it's the path I need to go. So really when you're afraid of something, I want you to evaluate, write it out, because it always helps to write. And like, is it something I should be doing? And I'm just afraid to take that step. Then take it anyway.
Ooh.
I mean, it's insane courage for like 10 seconds.
That's great. That's great
let
advice.
It out.
Yeah.
I mean, the things that I held myself back from early in my career, I mean, what was I thinking?
It's almost silly now, isn't it?
I know.
Laughable.
Like, why didn't I think I could take photos?
Who cares?
I'll take better photos than your camera phone. Your camera.
You know what I said to probably you as well as other clients when you start talking about fear? I say, okay, write it down. What is it exactly that you fear? Let's talk about that and see. Is it legitimate or not? Because most times it's not, but we need to see it in order to name it. And then I will say, are you about to be mauled by a bear if you walk out of your house? Will this kill you? No.
No.
Then is it a legitimate fear? No, it's not, because fear kept our ancestors safe from animal attacks. You will not die by putting your product or service out there. You won't die. What you're worried about, I think more importantly, is the fear of rejection.
Oh, yes. And we've talked about that. That was one of
a real thing is the fear of rejection.
One of our other business challenges. It's hard. The fear can really hold you back from a lot of things. And you just have to kind of break free from it.
You know what my fear was starting out?
Oh.
I thought fear of failure, of course.
Yes.
Okay, but I wouldn't let myself off the hook by saying fear of failure. What does that mean? Failure. What does that mean? Okay, define it. Failure to me was not getting clients, not making money, not being able to sustain or grow my business. That was failure to me, and I feared that. Okay, so then I thought I need to come up with a solution to counteract that, because if you can come up with a solution, you can emotionally accept that fear and move on. So I thought to myself, what's the worst that can happen? And I actually want you to do this as part of this exercise is define the fear and say, okay, let's say that fear does happen. What is the worst thing that can occur as a result of that? The worst thing for me at that time was I'd have to go back and get a job, a corporate job. Okay, that's not the end of the world, right? But then I took it one step further. What if, because I've been out of corporate so long, that I couldn't get a job making what I needed to make? Okay, I could always go to Target.
Hey, I've said this too. I said this to you when I was like, I'm going to quit my corporate job. And if it doesn't work out, well, I'm not going back to my corporate job. I'm just going to go stock shelves at Target. And I'm going to be gosh darn happy stocking shelves at Target.
Be the best.
I'll get that Target discount and I'll be just fine.
So the fear was failure, and failure meant not making money or not having a business. Okay, so the worst possible scenario is that I have to go get a job.
Yeah. And I think, some of the fear comes like some of your fear, like making money and stuff, because that's how we define success. Ooh.
Careful.
Maybe that
right?
should be one of our other business
Yeah,
challenges.
yeah, make a note of that.
Hold on, I'm making a note.
Yeah, how do you define success? If
because
it's all based on money, yeah.
it's you're reaching for something that's not attainable. So we'll talk about that in a later business challenge. But you know, I don't look at success anymore as like making money. So for me, that whole fear of not making money is completely off the table now, because it's just money. I mean,
I have a question for you.
oh God, yes.
Do
Get
you
prepared.
have anything currently that you fear?
Public speaking, which I think a lot of people have a fear of public
Yeah.
speaking, but I'm taking steps to combat that
Yes,
fear.
you are.
So I know it. I know that my future is like speaking engagements and running events and stuff, like self-love events. And I know that I'm going to have to speak. And I have a message that I think people want to hear. And
Which is greater
It's great.
than the fear of public
Yes.
speaking.
So I identified the issue and I'm taking steps to counteract it. And I joined an organization called Woman Speak, which is specifically for women. And I'm getting out there, and you have to stand up in front of the group we do it every 2 weeks, and give a talk. So
Awesome.
What about you? Do you fear anything right now?
Negative. I have really inoculated myself against fear. I'll tell you what my most recent fear was
Yes.
and how I got over it. I had this fear of my business getting too big and too successful, meaning it would get complicated, or it would be too much work, or something would occur that I wouldn't understand, or also I would be too well known and then I would be up for criticism. So I had a fear about that. So I intentionally played small. For years, I kept it small, and then I just had to realize that nobody cares, that it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. And what I had to say and the message I wanted to bring to people was greater than, or more important than, my fear of some elusive force. I don't know. It was bizarre, but I'm now at the point, and I think this has something to do with being in my 40s. Truly, I do. Is that I just don't have that. I work with people to help them combat that fear. I can't think, and actually we'll put some time into thinking about this further, because we didn't plan that question for each other.
I know.
So I'm scanning my brain and thinking, no, there's not really anything I can learn anything. I can figure anything out. If I can't, I can hire someone. I mean, there's always a way around it. If something happens that I don't like, I can adjust, I can adapt. Good. It makes me better, stronger. I can figure it out, because I know that I will not be mauled by a bear. So any other fear to me feels almost unproductive. Like, fear is an unproductive emotion unless you use it to drive you.
Right. But I think fear can stifle your success.
For sure.
If you let it. So be very aware of what you're fearful of. Write it down. Become aware of it. Put it right in front of you. And then what you end up seeing is that there's no reason to fear what you actually fear. So if you write the truth, because really fear is just a lie you tell yourself to stop you from doing what you want to do, because it's your inner self trying to protect you from rejection. But I mean, rejection is just rejection. Like, no, you don't want it. Okay, no.
Right.
So what you'll see is the fear is a lie, write out the truth, and then get to work. Okay?
And we'd love to hear it.
Yes.
So in the group, if you could post maybe your greatest fear and what you're doing to combat it. And have you ever heard the acronym for fear? False evidence appearing real. It's a lie. Nothing is going to kill you. So you have to have some perspective, like kind of check yourself. Is this really an issue, or am I making it bigger? I have found that for most people, fear is like this big dark cloud that's looming on the horizon, and because it's so far away and it's so big and elusive, you can't wrap your brain around it. That's why it's so important to write it down.
Ooh, so
what
important.
is the fear? And look at it. And I think you'll find that when you write it down and you name it, I think to some degree it will seem silly. To some degree.
Let's evaluate where we are in a couple of months with our fear after having done this exercise.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you next month. Okay, that one was kind of long. I'm going to stop that.
Yeah, but it was good. Don't you think?
Yeah, fear stifles success.
You're really smart.
I know, Heather.